Hey guys, well I've finally done it. After 30 years of playing this acoustic violin, I've made the switch now to an electric violin. This is the Yamaha YEV105. I've had it for less than a week, but already I'm blown away. It's led to an explosion of creativity. I have so many ideas for this channel. Let's take a listen. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining. This is my first non-music cover video, so it's actually the first time you're hearing my voice on my channel. The reason I made this video is really, when I was researching buying an electric violin, I felt like I watched as many YouTube videos as I could, did as much online research as I could, and I still felt like I was taking a leap, taking a plunge. And so hoping that this video I can answer some questions that may not be out there as answered, and for anyone who's in a similar thought process and thinking about buying an electric violin. This is a non-sponsored video. All the brands that I mentioned are just, I'm enjoying them and myself personally, but I have left some Amazon associate links if you're interested in checking these products further. By all means, please take a look. I really wanted to give you a background of just my thought process, how I came to decide, and why it took me so long. 30 years of playing my acoustic violin. The feel of violin is so important to me. And for a significant sum of money, I want to make sure that it's something that I'm going to really enjoy, right? And so my biggest challenge was just, all the violin stores in my area, it's all acoustic. No one has electric violins on display. You can't just go try it out and, demo it. And so that was really the biggest hurdle in this process. All I could do really is just watch as many YouTube videos, read as many online product reviews as I could. I don't have any local violinist friends. I don't, can't borrow their instruments or anything like that. Another kind of, hurdle for me was the sound. A lot of the videos out there, the sound of electric violins have always put me off as sounding very synthetic, kind of a rubbery tone. But I came to realize that, you can change the tone. It's electric, an amp's gonna have all these different modes that you can dial in to get your custom sound. So anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and talk about my first impressions of this beautiful violin. Again, the Yamaha YEV105. It's got 5 strings. Let's talk about, first just the assembly and the packaging. So I actually chose to order this from Electric Violin Shop. If you haven't heard of them or come across their YouTube channel, go check it out. They've got some really cool content. And so when I was ready to finally make my purchase and buy this violin, I made absolutely sure to buy it from Electric Violin Shop because they've helped me so much in the past as part of my research and checking out various things like about accessories around electric violins. And I want to make sure that, I pay it back to them and buy this product from them. The other thing I'll say about the packaging is, there's unboxing videos, I won't go into that, but I was really impressed so they come with these little sponges, 2 of these sponges, and they're just inserted here under the strings to protect the bridge, and so it comes assembled, which is pretty cool. And I don't think that's standard. I want to say I read that you usually have to set up the bridge yourself. So I think this is something that Electric Violin Shop did, which I really appreciate. And so it comes out of the box ready to play. It's already stringed. It's already got the bridge up. So all you got to do is, if you want, add a shoulder rest and tune it, and you're ready to go. So next I want to talk about the build quality and the design of this beautiful instrument. I watched so many product reviews before I bought this thing, and once I unboxed it, I was still blown away just how magnificent it is. And we'll do a close-up here in a second, but first, just look at that silhouette. I mean, yeah, there's nothing here, so it's not a full body, but I really like how they rounded out the base, to give a really distinct nod to the shape of a traditional violin. The close up here, take a look at that. Look at that beautiful wood grain. You get these little controls here. That's a volume control. I don't mess with that. I just, if I want to adjust the volume, I'll do it with my amp. This is coming I don't know, some in, out. I don't know, I messed with it. I didn't hear a difference, so whatever. Nice, smooth, matte neck. That's great. And a little shout out to Electric Violin Shop there. That's neat. Yeah, standard chin rest, kind of plastic. There you go. These are, in fact, these are the same dimensions as a regular violin, so it fits in a case. The materials is actually, you know, it's a mix of, I don't know which is which, but spruce, mahogany, and maple wood. So this is very high quality materials. It's got the same weight. I mean, I haven't measured it exactly, but I've held, you know, holding both. I mean, no, I guess the electric feels a little bit heavier. That might be because I have the shoulder rest on it. Really indistinguishable. Speaking of the shoulder rest, you can use a traditional shoulder rest. This is the same shoulder rest that I've used on my acoustic violin, so you just pop it on, so that's convenient. And you also don't need a special bow. I'm using the same bow that I use on my acoustic violins. I want to walk you through some of, beyond the build quality, really the ergonomics of this violin, and some of this commentary might be more so about a 5-string violin and not necessarily this particular violin. But I want to talk through it because there's just some things that I just noticed right off the bat. So the first thing is, because it's a 5-string, the neck is wider, right? So I actually measured it and it's a 1/4 of an inch wider. I measured the distance from the top of the fingerboard to the body. That's the same as my acoustic violin. I measured the depth of the fingerboard. That's the same. And so in terms of ergonomics, what I'm feeling, you know, is purely that extra width and the width that it has to accommodate, you know, that extra C string. I'm not like a giant, but you know, I've got fairly large hands, long fingers, and so my playing position on an acoustic violin is something more so like this. And so I'm like playing like this all the time, and fatigue comes into play, and that affects, you know, your intonation, where you're putting your fingers. And so instead of doing this, my hand's doing this. It makes so much of a difference. And now, so, you know, rather like feeling like I'm playing a kid's violin, I feel like I'm playing, you know, just something more suitable for my body type. Other thing I'll say about ergonomics, I mentioned that matte fingerboard here at the back earlier. That is actually a lot smoother than your wood fingerboard on an acoustic. So here's my acoustic violin, and again, you know, same distance here, same depth, more narrow, and maybe you can kind of see like how I have to basically just, it's just so narrow, right? In terms of the fingerboard, I mean, yeah, it's smooth, it's polished wood, but if you actually run your finger down it, you can feel the grooves in the grain of the wood, and it does, I mean, it's very subtle, but it does offer some resistance when you're sliding. Why is that important for the non-violinists out there? When you're sliding positions, you know, when you're playing something fast, you need to go from first to third really fast. And right now I feel some drag with the Yamaha because it's just a smooth matte finish. Look at that. I mean, it's just no resistance at all, pure slide. That's been awesome. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, but the pickup is built into the bridge. I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but yeah, it's built into the bridge. Another ergonomic advantage that I didn't foresee is playing in third position on the lower string, on the G string. So G string, on this 5-stringer, it's the second to lowest string, but on a traditional violin, it's your lowest string. And so it's always been challenging on a traditional violin to get into third or higher positions on the G string, because you're usually having to turn. So by virtue of just the G string not being the last string and the fingerboard being more smooth, you don't have to travel as much, right, to get to third position and play that 4th finger. Like, to play it well, I'm just doing this. On the traditional violin, I'm just going out here. So a pretty significant difference from here on the electric to here on the acoustic. And you can see I'm moving my body too to get there. It's not just my elbow. So that's been really cool to, like, it's just effortlessly, the G string is now just like your D string, really. Things I don't like about the ergonomics of this violin, this chin rest is, I'm sorry, it's completely awful. It is, what the material they used here is, I mean, it seems like some sort of just plastic. It's very hard. And immediately it's just so uncomfortable under the chin. And on the acoustic, you know, this is a smooth wood. They're both smooth, the plastic and the wood, but the wood is softer. If I put some pressure on the wood, it's softer. It's also probably able to absorb oil, right? I mean, natural oils from the skin over time. I've been playing this for 30 years. So it's a very soft type of wood. And so I've never had discomfort with this chin rest, but I immediately noticed the difference on the electric violin. But luckily, you know, there's a way to solve that. Some people use just handkerchiefs, and I've been doing that for a while, but I just bought this thing called a Strad Pad, and I'll put the link in the description. It's basically like a felt or some type of fabric that, you know, just kind of sits here and permanently covers that chin rest. So it's going to be a lot softer. I'm hoping that that's going to be the solve there. The other thing I didn't really like about the ergonomics of the violin is this shoulder rest. You know, I mean, so it's been staying on this whole video fine, but really once you start playing it and you're applying that pressure from your chin and you're starting to move it around a bit, it jostles off pretty easily. And so I want to say within 10 minutes, I can already feel it coming loose, and I gotta, you know, dismount and adjust. So, you know, if you read in the product descriptions for the Yamaha YEV, it will say, you know, fits a normal shoulder rest, and it's true, it does fit, although I did have to adjust. This is an Everest shoulder rest, and I did have to like slide the leg down a knob compared to what I usually use on my acoustic. So it technically does fit, but I think what the problem is this lip, or this edge, is just so thin compared to an acoustic violin. Acoustic violin has more prominent of a ledge there, and so the legs of the shoulder rest can grip a lot better. Playing the acoustic violin, adjust the shoulder rest maybe once an hour or something. You can't adjust the mouth of the legs, and so that's leading to it falling off. So if there's any other violinists out there who are playing a Yamaha and have a better solution to a shoulder rest, please let me know. I would love to solve that problem, but for now I'm just kind of having to readjust every 10 minutes or so. So next, let's talk about the sound quality. Of course, the sound quality is going to depend a lot on what amp you're using. So I haven't compared amps. I researched one and I bought one, and I'll do a separate video on what amp I'm using. The tone has really impressed me so far, so let's get this plugged in so you can take a listen. So plugging in your amp, just using a standard cable, and the outlet's right here at the bottom. So just plugging that in. Always make sure you have your amp off or volume turned down when you're doing that, otherwise you might damage your ears. The violin is compatible with these wireless transmitter systems, so that's definitely a future purchase. So that way, this cord isn't bad, but you know, I tend to like to pace when I'm practicing, and so it'll be really convenient to just plug in a wireless transmitter here and then a receiver on the amp and be cord free. But this is working for now. So one thing that's really wowed me so far, and again, this might be just more of an aspect of it being a 5-stringer, but just the deep, rich tone of the lower strings, the C and the G string. Even the G string is a standard string on my acoustic violin, but it just sounds so deep and rich and, you know, like a viola and a cello. C string, obviously, that's a viola string, and so me saying that is not a surprise, but the G string, that's the standard string on the violin, and it still somehow just sounds so much more rich and deep. So check it out with this clip. Another really cool thing about electric violins in general is that, you know, when you don't have it plugged into an amp, it has, you know, you can do silent practicing. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of first impressions is the effects. And, you know, electric violin, the digital sound can be transformed in an infinite number of ways, and I've been nerding out over that over the past half week that I've had this violin. And again, you know, a lot of it's dependent on what amp you're using and, You know, if you're a violinist, are you delving into the world of pedal effects and exploring guitar pedals? I'm gonna do a whole separate video on the amp I'm using. I'm really excited to do that video. So I'm just gonna be scratching the surface here. Let's do a little bit of Mastodon. Pretty cool. I need to practice that a bit more, but yeah, kind of sounds like Mastodon. Next, let's give you guys a little Necrophagist. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, sounds pretty close. And let's do some death. That's what I've been nerding out over these past couple of days, and I feel like I've got so much more to explore. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what other type of videos you want to see. Thanks for watching. Play more violin.